My name is Nick Bebel. I'm 26 years old. I currently live in Worcester, Massachusetts, but I'm originally from just outside Chicago. What type of nerd am I? I like to think of myself as kind of an all-around nerd. I know a little bit about everything.
We are rolling.
I've got Dungeon Master's Guide. I've got 12-sided die. I've got Kitty Pryde and Nightcrawler too, waiting there for me. Yes, I do.
For college, I went to school, Worcester Polytechnic Institute. It is the second biggest engineering school in Massachusetts outside of MIT. I got a degree in industrial engineering and political science with a minor in theater. I was able to go to the school off a scholarship for being smart, basically. While there, I got honors. I was in an honor society for theater, and I was also in a social fraternity, Tau Kappa Epsilon. While at school, one of the things I'm most proud of, and was probably one of the nerdiest things I did at school, was for my final paper in political science. I wrote about the impact that Jon Stewart and Stephen Colbert are having over politics in the media. The general idea of the paper was to look back at the effect of satire throughout the course of history, and specifically looking at Jon Stewart and Stephen Colbert and seeing exactly how much effect their satire is having on everything right now. Some of the nerdier things I've been involved with in high school, like I said earlier, I did Scholastic Bowl, but I also was a competitive speaker and math team, both of which I excelled in. Math team, I have numerous awards, and for speech, I went to the state tournament 3 times in 4 events. In college, some of the nerdier things I've done, I was in a comedy group that did a little bit of sketch comedy, did improv comedy, but it also allowed me the opportunity to go and debate the British Cambridge Union, one of the most renowned debating schools in the world, really. And we got them to debate whether or not we should weaponize space. In high school, my English teacher, who herself was a member of Mensa, thought that several students in her class should take the test, so she lined up for about 5 of us to take the Stanford Binet intelligence test. I ended up testing with an IQ of 145, which tested me into Mensa. So I ended up going to 1 meeting, paying 1 year's dues, and then I stopped. I could go back, but I didn't. But I did test into Mensa with an IQ of 145. So things that I'm good at. One of the big things that I'm very good at is trivia. I, for some reason, just know a lot of trivia about stuff. In high school, I was one of the all-state people for Scholastic Bowl, Trivia Bowl, that kind of thing. We're basically Team Jeopardy in high school, which I still keep up with that, going to usually like bars and restaurants will have trivia night, and me and my friends will go there and have fun, and usually I tend to be very good at that. Some of the other things I've realized I'm quite good at is competing with games. I've done Rock Band tournaments, both for how good I am and how ridiculous our performance can be. Me and some of my friends have done that, where we've just gone up there and done performance-based Rock Band, where it doesn't matter how good you play, it's how silly you are on stage. And my personal favorite was me and my friend Rick went up there as 2 drunk Irish rockers. Basically, we cosplayed the band Oasis, and that was a lot of fun. But it's also been, at my school they had this thing called the Science Fiction Society, which twice a year would do gaming weekend, where they just bring out every game they had and you could play them. And I would usually go up there with some of my friends, and they'd invite me to come play games that I never played before. And I sat down with people who had been playing them for years, and I just picked them up. Probably the best one was we were playing Munchkin. And they were like halfway through the game, they were going around the table. It's like, all right, how many points do people have? And it's first one to 10 points wins. And like people have been playing for years. Like I got 1, I got 3, I got 5, like 4. And I was sitting there, and it was my turn. I'm just like, I've got 9, and I think that's 10. And I just watched people go ballistically mad because I had no idea what I was doing, but somehow won. I currently am about to start a new job, working at a woodworking company that makes high-end cabinets. My job there will be basically, in the interview, they told me I'm going to be their math nerd. They all know how to work with wood, and I will be the nerd who sits there and does their math for them. But probably the coolest job I had in the past was I worked at Harmonix, people who make Rock Band and Guitar Hero, mostly because I can do this. Although usually when I play, I like to play stuff like this. But yeah, I worked for them as a playtester for Lego Rock Band, and that was really cool. The nerdiest thing I do on a regular basis would probably be, usually once a week. We like to think we do it once a week, but we don't. Is me and my best friend record a podcast about generally video games, but a lot about nerdy stuff. And on that, I usually talk at great lengths over my opinions on not just video games, but the state of video game criticism right now and how I think it's terrible. And because of that, I've myself attempted to become a video game critic and just sit there and yell about what games I think are good, what games I think are bad.
It was a better story. There was more happening that you could get involved with.
How many hookers did you kill in Zelda? As I said earlier, I like to think myself as a video game critic now. I'd like to think it. It's probably not true, but I'd like to think of that. But I play a lot of video games, and I would say my favorite genre of video games probably lies in adventure gaming. It was one of the first I ever played, and games like Maniac Mansion, Psychonauts, Grim Fandango have always been some of my favorites. But my favorite games probably have to lie in some of the more artsy games that have come out. Games like Portal, Shadow of the Colossus, and most recently Journey, which I played, which was an incredible amount of fun. For music, I am definitely a music nerd. My friends give me an endless amount of crap about how much of a nerd I am over this. Usually they call me a hipster about the type of music I listen to, but I think of it as kind of nerdier than that. Mostly because my favorite band since I was a young teenager was They Might Be Giants, which, if you just look at them, are two of the nerdiest people you'll ever meet. But their music's always been fun. But then again, that's also developed into some of, kind of the hipstery bands that I tend to like. Things like the Mountain Goats, Bon Iver, Arcade Fire. Movies are one thing I definitely love and spend a lot of time with. I currently work with a group that is making movies. Last year we did the 48-hour film project in 3 cities, and in the city of New Haven we made a silent film that won 4 awards, and we're going back this year to all 3 of the cities and gonna try to do even better. But for the movies I like, there's a ton of them. Usually when it's Oscar time, I'll sit down and watch all those movies and enjoy them immensely. But I also enjoy sitting down during the summer with a big bucket of popcorn and watching just the silly movies and the action-y movies. Like National Treasure is one of my guilty pleasure movies. I just saw The Avengers a little while ago, and that was awesome. I love a good superhero movie or a good silly action-y movie like Super 8 or something like that. Like I said earlier, there's a bunch of nerdy things that I like. Some of my other favorite things, my favorite superhero is Iron Man. He's just awesome. I have recently started to get more and more into anime. My favorite one currently is Full Metal Alchemist, but I've seen a couple other ones like I still need to finish Cowboy Bebop, and a new one that came out a few years ago called Baccano I very much enjoy. My favorite comic books, there's one called DMZ, which is a Civil War set in Manhattan, which I think is really cool. I never really got into the superhero comic books outside of Iron Man, but I've heard really good things about Civil War, which I will probably pick up very soon. And the other one that I really, really like is the writings of Brian O'Malley, who writes Scott Pilgrim, I absolutely adore Scott Pilgrim, and the movie of Scott Pilgrim was just as good as the comics. That being said, with all the nerdy things I do like to be active. I am a huge sports fan. Go White Sox, because I'm from Chicago. But I also like to play sports. I'm a very avid golfer. And I'd like to think of myself as a pretty good golfer. Once I get back practicing, I will get back to where I once was. I'm also a huge fan of badminton, and I played baseball for most of my young life. As for my dream girl, that would probably be the cutest girl I could think of, which is Zooey Deschanel. I even named my chinchilla after her. This is her. One of the age-old nerd questions is Kirk or Picard. There's an answer. It's Picard. Picard is the correct answer to that one. And I stand by this so much that back when I was a tour guide at school, there was a new residence hall built on campus, and it was going unnamed until someone bought the rights to it. So what me and a couple of the other tour guides did was we started a rumor that the cement company that had provided a lot of the bricks and building materials was 30% owned by Patrick Stewart, a.k.a. Jean-Luc Picard. So in honor of that, the residence hall is being named Picard Hall. And as tour guides, we absolutely spread this to every prospective student we could. So by the next year, kids were coming in actually thinking that our school was so nerdy that we had a residence hall named after Captain Jean-Luc Picard. This has been my audition tape. Thanks for watching. Once again, I'm Nick, and I hope to hear back because I really think I could be the king of the nerds.